Daniel, I want to be really clear. I'm not celebrating. I'm just telling you the progress
You're
that we're
praising
making, which
all
is a
the
good
efforts
thing,
that your government have done, ticking off the list. There's one thing National promised to be in government. It was being tough on crime. But according to the latest One News Varian poll, most people, that's 56%, says its law and order policies have made no difference in how safe they feel. And another 13% said they feel less safe. Well, joining us now is Prime Minister Christopher Luxon. Good morning, Prime Minister.
Good morning, Daniel. Good to be with you.
Those numbers are trending downwards slightly since the last poll, but what's your reaction to the numbers?
Well, look, actually, I think if you look at your numbers on this quarter versus last quarter, you'll see that there was actually 7% more people feeling safer. There was actually people feeling less safe was down 5 points. And actually, if you think about it, in the last last month, we've only just introduced all our gang laws. So it's consistent with what we're seeing. You know, we've seen a 60% reduction in ram raids. We've got a 30% increase in cops out on the beat. We've got a 3% decline in total victimisations, which is all good stuff. And if you consider where we were heading, which was a 33% increase in violent crime, a doubling of retail crime. We've made tremendous progress in 12 months, and so it's really encouraging.
But still, only a quarter say they still feel safer. Is that good enough?
Well, we want to continue to make sure that Kiwis do feel safer in their businesses, their homes and their communities, but I'm telling you, the number of New Zealanders that I run into on these media interviews, and they're down over 60%. So, you know, we're making progress, and I think.
And I know I heard you say that you run into people across the country, and I've run into people here in Auckland. Take a listen to what they have had to say about the numbers.
Harder on crime is just a political trick. I feel safe.
Crime is rife in this country.
I don't think that there's been a significant drop in crime at all. There's been an increase in police presence in a lot of places, but that hasn't meant a reduced rate of crime.
And that's a fair point there, Prime Minister, that lady says. There's been an increase in police numbers, but she still doesn't feel safe.
Well, Daniel, I'm just saying to you, our total victimisations across the country are down 3%. That's better than where they were heading. We had a long trend. There's a lot more to do, but Daniel, I think we should be celebrating some progress here. For every morning, we used to wake up with endless stories about ram raids, and now we don't do that as much because they're down 63%. So I think, let's celebrate the fact that we're the gangs and make life very difficult for them.
Those camps, Prime Minister, if I may, this has been a failure, really.
Sorry, Daniel, I'm not celebrating, just for the record. Sorry, Daniel, I want to be really clear. I'm not celebrating. I'm just telling you the progress that we're making, which is a good thing.
You're praising all the efforts that your government have done, ticking off the list. I just want to touch on the boot camps.
Well, Daniel, no, so I was giving you the facts because the way you're interpreting your poll is not accurate, because actually your poll
and that
has
I
made
acknowledged at the
progress
start, Prime Minister, when I said those numbers are trending downwards slightly since the last poll. But let's talk about boot camps. I mean, this has been a failure, hasn't it? Two participants have absconded, they were not found for days and allegedly committing crimes. Has it been a failure in your eyes, the boot camps pilot?
No, we've got 10 of our serious, toughest, most persistent. Would you want to hear my answer, or do you want to just
Go
interrupt?
for it, please. I'm listening.
Yeah, so I was just saying we've got 10 serious young offenders who are our toughest, most persistent, offenders that we've got in this country. We've put our military-style academies together very deliberately because we believe, actually, what's the alternative? You just do nothing and you see violent crime continue to go up. You see retail crime continue to go up. We believe that we should make an impact on these young people's lives and actually do everything we can to turn them around. And importantly, we also need to keep the community safe and actually try and give these kids an opportunity to actually make a choice as to whether they want to live a different life or carry on the pathway they're going. And we know where that ends. They end up going into more violent crime, causing more harm in the community, and we're giving them every opportunity through really good mentorship, through really good programs to try and change. And so, yes, it won't be perfect. We will have people who will reoffend, but that is a choice that they get to make after having had an intervention that has, and I've been really impressed. I've spent 4 hours at that facility with those young people, and many of them, have actually found a pathway into work or into education, and that's a good thing. And they have had to come from pretty dysfunctional backgrounds. They've been pretty tough, serious, persistent young offenders. And I don't think
Can I move on to ferries, Prime Minister? Nearly a year to the day, the Finance Minister cancelled the replacement project, citing major cost blowouts. Can you tell us, has a solution been found? And what is it?
Well, the good news is we're going to have more to say about that very shortly, so you just have to wait a little bit longer, but as we committed to, we'll have an announcement to make before the end of the year, as we've
Deputy
committed.
Prime Minister said it'll be tomorrow.
A very
Can you give
good...
us an insight into it? I mean, are you going to have rail or trains on them?
I'm sorry, Daniel, you just have to wait until we're ready to make that announcement. As I've said to you and to all media, we've made a commitment that by the end of the year we will actually have an announcement to make, and importantly we're going to have a solution to make sure that we get a good ferry option on the strait.
Can you rule out that Labour leader Chris Hipkins told media his understanding is the government is buying 2 smaller ferries and they'll cost more than the ferries you cancelled?
No disrespect, but I don't take any lecturing from the Leader of the Opposition, Chris Hipkins. He has no economic skills or credentials at all, and so I just would say to you, let's wait until the announcement comes, as we've committed to doing, before the end of the year, and all will be revealed, but importantly, we'll have a good solution for the Cook Strait.
Speaking of solution, paper mill in Kinleith, you'll be aware a public meeting took place in Tokoroa last night. Your Deputy Prime Minister was there. Is the government going to step in?
No, what the government, there's a few things going on there. First of all, I'd just say to you, look, it's pretty tough for people losing their jobs, and for those families and those individuals that have been impacted. I know Louise Upston and MSD are on the ground there working with OG, working with those employees, looking for opportunities, retraining, all those good things, which is the best, is what the government can certainly should be doing. The second thing I'd say to you is just remember the company that's behind this is a large multinational called OG. They have huge amounts of capital. They have international investments all around the world. They've been saying for many years that actually paper is actually unprofitable for them. It's not surprising. People don't consume newspapers as much anymore. But also the energy prices and energy insecurity has been a factor as well in all of this. And that's thanks to the last government ending the oil and gas ban, where we import coal but not enough domestic gas to keep prices lower. And that has been an impact as well. But what we can do is make sure that we're focused on growing the economy. And that's what our government is doing. Inflation is down. Interest rates are down. The business confidence is at a 10-year high. Yes, it's now got to flow through to growth and it's got to flow through to jobs and employment. But if you're a business that's hung on as long as they have, where there has been low interest, high interest rates, high inflation, low demand, ultimately the last thing people do is lay off workers, and that's not what we want. If you care about low and middle income working New Zealanders, you run a really good economy, and that's what we're doing.
Prime Minister, Etu Union told us New Zealand is in danger of turning into a nation of warehouses with no manufacturing, and says the Provincial Growth Fund should be used rather than investing in infrastructure in towns that are turning into ghost towns. Does he make a point?
Well, we're investing a huge amount of money into infrastructure at both a national level and a regional level. That's why we do have our regional infrastructure fund. That's why we do have an infrastructure plan in this country. We know that's a key part of it. Well, businesses will be under huge pressure. We've got to create opportunities so that businesses see there's an opportunity here for them to grow. But the answer isn't for government to go in and buy lots of businesses across the country and run them as a government. We've got a large player with large multinational with huge amounts of capital, billions of dollars, that's capable of being invested in this country, and we've got to create the conditions for that investment to be right.